Okay, so I have so many ideas of what I want to do for a next video, but I was just lying in bed watching a video from YouTube. Um, it was talking about like Redditors who have who went to school on the bus and had like memorable stories. And as I was listening to them, it got me inspired. Like, why don't I tell people about my stories on the bus? And oh boy, I have some stories because I used to go to a very fancy high-end college called Bethlehem College, which is like high school for other countries, but in New Zealand we call it college. Um, so I would have to get the bus every morning, I think. Oh yeah, I would get the bus every morning at 7:30. We'd get there at 8:25, and then class would start at 8:30. And then I think we got on the bus to leave college at the end of the day at about 3:15, and then we'd get back at like 4:15 or something like that. It was a long day. So anyway, I'm going to tell you all about my little adventures going to and from college on the bus. So going to primary school, I never had to get the bus. My mum could drive me there, so I'd never taken a bus to school before. I'd been on a bus once to like go to a friend's house, but anyway, when like at primary school, um, sorry, I'm really not good at telling stories. Um, but anyway, so I've never really taken buses before. So when I started Bethlehem College, I was terrified. But we when I first started, and oh, I should also mention I only did a couple years of college until I gave up due to my health. Um, when I first started, we had this really, really, really nice bus driver, sweet, sweet guy. I can't even remember his name now. I wish I could remember it. But like he would just sort of let us all do whatever how we wanted, and he would he would put his little head earphones in and like listen to music so he didn't have to listen to us. And it was really nice and great, and I really really liked him a lot. Um, just just a cool, just one of the best bus drivers ever. Um, and oh, I was gonna mention something. All our buses had like special names, um, like going different places, but I won't say the name of the one I went on because then people might figure out where I live if you figure out the names of the buses from Bethlehem College. Anyway, um, so yeah, it was all good at first, and we had this nice bus driver. But then one day, out of the blue, we had a new bus driver. Hal was his name, and oh boy was he hell. Sorry, that's cringy, but yeah, his name was Hal. Um, he was an absolute fucking prick. So my 2 years of going to Bethlehem College was really really hard for me because I would have to because as I mentioned previously, I would have to be at the bus. We'd have to be at the bus stop at 7:15, and then the bus would come and leave at 7:30. So I had to get up at 6 o'clock every morning, and I had my illness back then too. So you can imagine what a nightmare that was for me. And it was a long day, and Bethlehem College, for those of you who don't know, is a fucking hilly place. Every morning we would get there at 8:25. Class would start at 8:30. So we had to get off that bus, and then every morning you got the steep, 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 steep slope, and it was torture. I barely had time to get my books ready for class because I had a locker and stuff. And so it was torture, and it was just a long, awful day. And every day when I got on the bus to go home, I just wanted to unwind with my friends and talk to my friends and have fun. And maybe it's the fact that my hearing isn't very good, which I think I mentioned in my introduction. I do have, or maybe I didn't. Actually, I don't think I did. I have a lot of trouble hearing, like processing what people say and hearing. Um, Especially on a loud bus, like my hearing would get kind of fuzzy. Um, but in my personal opinion, my friends and I weren't very loud. In my opinion, um, it was it was me, two girls, and a guy who had ADHD. He could be really annoying sometimes, but he was like my frenemy. We'll call him Sam. But yeah, Sam was a part of our group, and I guess he could be a bit loud sometimes. But at the end of the day, I just want to unwind and just have fun with my friends and just get my mind off everything, how miserable I felt, how tired I was. I don't know what hell had against us. We didn't do anything to him. We didn't do anything. But he hated our group. He always targeted our group. Maybe it's because we sat in the front. But our group was always getting in trouble for being noisy. I don't think we were noisy. In my opinion, I don't think we were noisy. Maybe it's just because of my hearing. But we would start talking and laughing and having fun. You know, just normal things teenagers and intermediate people do. And he would just get fucking mad at us. And then, like, because even though Sam could be annoying, he was the light of the group. And he could make you laugh. He would do irritating things. Like I remember one time on the bus, he like popped. You know how you can like up and go cartons. You can like sort of blow through a straw, blow them up, and then pop them on the ground really loud. He'd do annoying things like that, and it really made you want to rip your hair out. But he could be really funny, and he would always make me laugh. Like no matter how depressed I felt, no matter how hard things were, and hell just ruined it all. And he made my life a fucking misery. He would always tell us to shut up, and then get this, because there was you had the driver's seat on the side. That's New Zealand for you. We're on the different side to Americans and all that. Driver's seat was here, and there was a passenger seat up the front. That where no one was allowed to sit, but he pulled Sam away from our group and he'd start sitting in the front every single time, and we didn't get to talk to him anymore, and so I just had to be miserable. And because I was always so exhausted, after that, every time I got home from college, I wouldn't even get out of my uniform. Actually, no, I would rip my uniform off. I remember one time, as I was coming in the door, I was already unbuttoned, and my shirt was like already halfway unbuttoned. But anyway, every time I got home, I would just bawl my eyes out because it was just such a shitty time for me, and I was just always so tired. So that was hell. He was not a cool guy, and I mean, I hope he's still not the bus driver because fuck him, he was such a jerk to us. He just would always pick on our group. Um. Anyway, what other stories do I have? Oh yeah, and as for our bus itself, the bus itself, we always got the shittiest buses ever. Like, absolute garbage. Um, so, our buses would always constantly break down. Oh, and here's a good story. So, I always struggled in college, and there were times when, like, I just couldn't do it, and I like projects and stuff, and I just shut down. But then there were times when something would come up that I'd get really passionate about. And one of these things was I was in cooking class, and I think I had to cook a chicken meal or something. You had to get it prepared at home, and you had to do it at the school, and you had to have like your own recipe and stuff, and get creative, and then I think we got NCA points for it. Um, but anyway, my my cooking session was the first period of that day. I had everything prepared. I brought it all on the bus. Everything was good. going up the Kaiamais, all was well, you know, and then the bus decides to break down. Of all the days, when I had this important class that I had to get NCEA credits for, and I was all prepared, the bus had to break down, and I was devastated, and I was freaking out. Because it took forever to get a new bus out to us, because we were just in the middle of the Kaiamais, hell had to pull over, and we were just sitting there forever. And I was thinking, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to do my cooking thing and get my credits. I was like freaking out. We got there like, must have been an hour late or something, and I can't even remember what I did. I don't know if I had to write a note, or I think I had to go to the class and explain to the teacher like what happened, that like our bus literally broke down, and then I had to, and because of that, I had to do it during lunch. I missed out on lunch because of it, and then I had to have a lunch break during my when classes started again, and then I was late to another class. It was just an awful day. Our bus would always do shit like that. It would always break down. I think it must have broken down at least 5 times throughout my 2 years of going there. Like, how crazy is that, right? And oh yeah, this was another really annoying one. I don't remember most of them, but there are two that are memorable, which is the one I just told you, and this one I'm going to tell you about now. So, it was the end of the day, and I was done with life, like I always was at the end of the day. So it was the bus home, and when I used to get on the bus home, like the ride to home felt like long enough as it was already, and I just wanted to get home because I was just so done. So anyway, we were driving down the Kaiamais once again, and all of a sudden, there's this big bang. Like, it sounded like gunfire. Actually, no, probably louder than gunfire. Sounded louder than gunfire. And it was terrifying. It turns out, sorry, I'm not good at storytelling. I'm trying. So we hear this big bang. The bus kind of jerks a bit, and Hal pulls off, and he makes us all stay on the bus. And, which I guess is reasonable, because the Kaiamais is a very dangerous place. There's always a lot of cars and trucks going up it, and like the pullover places aren't very wide compared to like where the road is. So like, it is pretty dangerous. But like, me being anxious and having anxiety, because I had anxiety back then as well, I just wanted to get off the bus and like know what was going on, and like I wanted to walk home because I was just so done. But yeah, it turns out our tyre burst. One of the tyres on the bus burst. And everyone was wanting to get out to find out what was happening. But, you know, Hal being a scruffy stuff was like, down the bus, down the bus, like, just being a dick about it all, like usual. He was just the biggest dick ever. And it took forever to get a replacement bus out, and then he had to file us all off and straight onto the next bus. So yeah, that was really annoying, and yeah, things just weren't good for me. Like having to get on and off that bus, like I just hated it so much. And then Sam kind of started disappearing as well. I think he started having problems with his ADHD. I think he started like staying home some days, as did I, because of my illnesses. I started having Thursdays off, so that was always nice. And yeah, those are just some of my most memorable stories that I have at the moment that I could think of, that I thought I'd share. I'm sure we've all, like anyone who's gone on buses to get to school and get back from school, I'm sure everyone has their stories, and those are my. Ooh, that's another one. I just thought of another one. I don't care how long this is. Another memorable one that I was going to tell you guys about is so one of so we had this small group of friends, like I mentioned, and one of the girls in the group, I will call her. What shall we call her? Trying to think of a name. I'm not good at thinking of names. Let's just call her Amy. We'll just call her Amy. Um, so this girl Amy, she had a lot of mental problems. I think she was allergic to dairy, but she still ate dairy, and because of it, she constantly had like nasty red rashes all over her body, on her face, on her arms, on her legs, everywhere you can imagine. And she also had this bowel problem where like poo would like run out. So you can see why I'm not mentioning names here because you don't need to know who this is. And because of that, she would constantly really stink. I think because of that, people took pity on her a lot, and she would. It was really frustrating because she would use and abuse that like people would like take pity on her, and she thought she was the kind of person that thought she could do whatever the hell she wanted and get away with it. So Amy and this other girl we'll call Stacy. We'll just call her Stacy. This girl Stacy would sometimes hang out in our group with us, not all the time, just sometimes. She was she was a real loudmouth and naughty girl too, naughty girl. But I liked her. Anyway, her and so Amy and Stacy, those two together were absolute trouble. And Amy decided to one day bring a screwdriver on the bus when I wasn't there. And you know those hand grips that are on the chairs in front of you as the rows go down? They started unscrewing those and taking them off, which I was getting, because like always got so pissed off at Amy, like how she could just do this stuff and think she could get away with it. As well as Stacy, she was a brat. She could be a real brat too, basically. And anyway, because I don't think I was on the bus when they did it, but I had heard Amy and Stacy talking about it in the past, about bringing a screwdriver on and like unhinging them and stuff and wrecking them basically. So so one morning, and this was before Sam got taken to the front of the bus. One morning I get on the bus, I'm sitting next to Sam, and we notice that they're gone, and we instantly know who it is because they've been talking about it. So Hal comes up to us, and he says to us, "Do you know who's been taking the hand grips off the bus?" And me being just so tired because like this wasn't the only thing. Like I know Amy had problems, but she would just abuse it, and she did stuff like this all the time, and I was getting really sick of it. And because we grew up in intermediate as well, so I'd known her for a long time, and she picked on me as well. Like one time she chased me with scissors and stuff, and she would chase me with stuff and throw stuff at me. So I was just really tired of this shit. And so he says, "Who's done this?" And I say to Hal, I say, "It was Amy and Stacy. They did it. I heard them talking about it. It had to have been them." And don't judge me for snitching because they shouldn't be able to get away with that. It's bad enough that buses don't have seatbelts. Um, taking the taking the hand grips off as well, it's already dangerous enough. So yeah, I snitched on him. What are you gonna do about it? And I thought to myself, they'll thank me for it one day. Come the end of class, and also this is going to be a perfect example of my life and how people have treated me my entire life. Now, before I mention this, I was just trying to do the right thing. Okay, I mean it's not right, is it? To vandalize something that isn't yours. It's just not right. And I know they were my friends, but they needed to learn. And they weren't going to learn if you just let people get away with it. So anyway, end of the day comes, I see Stacy with this other girl that wasn't really a friend. Um, and I get excited. I yell out, "Hey Stacy!" Like I'm happy to see her and stuff. And then I quickly realize she's crying. And it turns out what happened is I Stacy took the full blame. She said it was just her. it was actually Amy's idea in the first place. I know because I heard Amy talking about it. I want, if I wanted anyone to get in more trouble, it was Amy, because I was so sick of everyone just protecting her, and she was just abusing it. Like, I wanted her to get in trouble more than I want Stacey to get in trouble. Stacey was just kind of, in a way, just tagging along this time, even though Stacey could be the start of troublemaking. She kind of tagged along with Amy's idea, basically. So it turns out she took the whole rat, and she was crying because Hal was going to tell her parents, and she was already in enough trouble already, apparently, and she might have gotten her hockey stick. She played hockey, by the way, guys. She might have having stopped playing hockey. And look, I was just trying to do the right thing, okay? Because like, I don't know why I keep saying this. And anyway, and of course, this other girl will call Lizzie. This girl Lizzie, you know, she was like, look, just leave her alone. Like, and then I got hated. Like, but hey, that's been my whole life. I could tell you so many other stories of similar incidents happening with that. I have another story as well, a very similar story to that, another thing that Stacey did, but I'll share that another time. And I ended up getting hated for it. And it was like, I was just trying to do the right thing. You should never, guys, if you go on a bus and you're thinking of vandalizing it, even if it's a shitty bus, don't do it, guys, okay? It's just not worth it. And like, I know now that what I did was right. I feel bad that Stacey had to get in trouble and that she was already having a hard time at home. But, I mean, like I said, I wanted Amy to get in trouble so badly because I was just, she was the kind of girl that just never learned. I might do some more videos one day talking about some more incidences with Stacey. No, Amy. Sorry, Amy. Sorry. It's really hard for me. I would rather say the real names because it would be easier for me. I'm not good at keeping track of fake names, but I'm just going to have to do that. I'm going to remember that I gave her the name Amy. So yeah, those are some of my stories on the bus. A lot of not good memories. A lot of traumatic stuff happened. Yeah, I just wanted to share my story, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Bye for now.